How you doing, Manginas? Thank you, Talda here. Bringing you guys Domination on Prison Break. And this gameplay, you guys see right here, it was during a live stream, and now without theater mode, there was no way for me to capture it. But it was my best Domination game to date, and I definitely wanted to show it off. It was a very high KD, pretty intense. You get to see the Maniac work. I think I had like 15 captures in this too, which is very impressive. So overall, I played a very objective base game and did pretty well. Unfortunately, it's not going to be perfect HD quality since it was from a stream, but I think it'll get the job done. And today's commentary is going to be a little bit more about a serious subject kind of way. It's going to be about drunk driving and basically drinking in general and how I've been in trouble with this kind of stuff. So where this is stemmed from is from the death of Yoteslaya. If you don't know who that is, he was a YouTuber, a Call of Duty commentator, and he died probably a week or two ago now. Drunk driving with some friends. He got hit by a train. I don't know what they were trying to do, whether they were trying to race this train, but obviously they didn't succeed, and he was under the influence. And if you don't know, I did a commentary about 2-3 years ago, I think it's been now. My old YouTube channel, the video has since been deleted, back when I wanted to do like a fresh start and shit like that. But anyways, I have been arrested for drunk driving. So I think a lot of the newer subs don't realize this, and I'm going to explain the story here again, and I'm going to tell you about what I've learned from this and what I could tell you guys as a life lesson. But it was July 2nd. I was with a buddy. We went to an apartment party, and he picked me up that day. And he had like a liver condition where like he really couldn't drink or it'd start to hurt really bad. So he normally didn't always drink, and if he did, he'd drink very small amounts. And so by him picking me up, we really didn't talk about who was going to be DD or if we had one. I just kind of assumed, maybe I shouldn't have, that he was, since he picked me up with his car for me not to be able to drive, and then he had that condition, so I didn't think he was going to really drink that much. So anyways, we get to this party, and a few hours into it, all of a sudden I notice him. He's like on the ground, like giggling uncontrollably, and like the people are kind of like teasing him because he was so drunk at the time. And he's a goofy kid. He's a goofy kid. Made a lot of people laugh, and in a way they were kind of picking on him just for their laughs. And so I felt kind of bad, but he was just super hammered. So at that point, I'm like, okay, pretty late in the night. It's probably time to go home. I'm just gonna drive him home. Then I'm gonna head home. So and I'll give his car to him the next day. So anyways, it was time to go. My friend checked me. He's like, dude, are you okay to drive? I'm like, yeah, dude, I feel fine. And at the time, I didn't feel drunk. I should have known for how much I drank. I should have counted a little bit better. What you definitely should try to do is keep track of how much you have had to drink to kind of realize where you're at, since most of you guys, if you guys have drank enough, you'll probably know, depending on how much alcohol you've had. Um, and so my friend did a little eye test, and he obviously didn't do it correctly. So he's like, okay, dude, you seem fine. And so I was driving him home, and then I guess at some point I did an improper turn, which is a really bullshit reason to get pulled over. Basically, yeah, it's hard to explain it. But anyways, I did an improper turn. Um, got pulled over, and I knew I was busted right there and then. And so I kind of sucked right there. Like I just had this guilt feeling, and I knew I was in trouble. So they took me to jail, where I was put into a drunk tank with maybe about 20 other people in there. And as soon as I get in there, there's already a fight breaking out between these two guys about whose turn it is to use the phone. And so that was broken up, and I just didn't fit in there. It just wasn't my scene. I'm not the type of person that probably should have been in there. But anyways, after I spent the like 3 hours in there, they put me into a room the size of my dorm, which is pretty small, with 6 other men. It was a cell, and 5 other men. There were 6 total. I was given a blanket, and we were supposed to sleep on the floor. It was cement or tile. It was just a hard floor, and it was just not comfortable. You had to finally make room. So essentially, I didn't get any sleep in there. It was really weird. And the thing, too, was I was kind of intimidated by this guy. There was this guy, he was this big red-haired guy, and when I got into the drunk tank, he was just staring at the cops from the door. He was just intimidating them, not saying a word, just had his hands behind his back and just looking out at them. And I got put in the cell, and when I was put in the cell, he was doing the same exact thing. He was just staring at them, just standing there. So it was kind of intimidating. But after a while, an hour or two, he sat down, and me, him, and another guy were kind of awake. So we talked a little bit about why we were in there, what happened, and shit like that. Turned out to be a very nice guy. He is a guy that technically you probably wouldn't want to fuck with. But overall, he seemed like a pretty stand-up dude. he got busted from an event staff security guy for sitting on a fence at a concert. It was in somewhere in Des Moines. It was a country concert, and the security guy told him to get off the fence, and the guy was like, "No, I'm not doing anything wrong." Eventually, he got arrested for some reason. I think the security guy just had beef with him or shit. So, anyways, we were talking in there. I told him how I got arrested for drunk driving, and he basically told me, he's like, "Dude, you're an idiot. Like, why would you do that? You're throwing away your life if you could do that." And at the time, I mean, it was still really new. I didn't know what to think. I just knew that I was in jail, and I couldn't believe it. I never thought I was the type of person to be there. And he was right. It was a horrible decision, and it could have been a lot worse. I'm lucky that the worst was just getting arrested. And I'm telling you guys right now, it cost me a lot of money. I'm still paying off fines from that night. And this is 3 years later. So, and it's only going to get worse if I ever get busted again. And by the way, I am not going to drive drunk ever again. Hopefully you guys will learn that as well. So anyways, despite me knowing, like, I held a grudge for my friend for a very long time. Like, dude, like, I can't believe it. He was listening to my DD that night. And then I realized, just recently, really, that it's not really him. Like, I gotta look out for myself, and I should have known better than to do that. And to say it was my first time driving drunk would be a lie. I had drove drunk before. I'm not sure how many times, not a whole lot of times, but it was enough that I was definitely due to get busted. Like, I was definitely due, despite me not swerving and everything like that. And people always say, like, "Oh, I'm a good drunk driver." That's not a thing. That doesn't exist. And so when people tell you that, just ignore them. Really, they're idiots. But yeah, it kind of sucked. It ruined a friendship between me and my best friend, the guy that it was his car. And he, by the way, he didn't get in trouble at all. He was 21 at the time, and they just drove him home, um, and that was all for him. And yeah, so to bring it back to Yoteslaya, I think I heard the week or two before he got busted for drunk driving and had a suspended license and still was driving and drunk when he got hit by the train. So obviously, people should kind of know that that's a life lesson. You gotta learn your lesson when you do something wrong. It's supposed to be a time for you to learn not to do it again. He obviously didn't listen to the signs and face the ultimate sacrifice. You know what I mean? So that's what happens. Like, there's like people always hear, it's like, "Oh, it's not gonna be me," but I think it was a big wake up call for a lot of people that are familiar with, like, wow, I really looked up for this guy. This guy did YouTube videos. I watched him every day, and then now he just died because of driving drunk. And Keemstar was, I think, a friend of his, because I've seen his Twitter just go crazy about the situation, and he said some really ignorant comments. And there is a little bit of sense in them, but it's still something he probably shouldn't have said. He talked about, like, how only cool people drive drunk and shit like that. Basically, like, if you have never drove drunk, you're a nerd, you're an idiot, you don't have any fun, you don't have any friends. Very ignorant statement, to be honest with you. Um, I mean, partly it's true. It's probably the party people probably are more likely to drunk, but those are a little more likely people that do idiotic stuff and get arrested. So that doesn't mean, like, you're only cool if you drive drunk. Okay, someone you guys know. And by the way, I fucked these kids up. These guys had no idea I was there. But anyways, what I learned from it is that obviously I'm never gonna do it again. I really gotta watch out for that, and I do my best to make sure my friends don't do it either. I try to tell them, man, like, if they plan on driving drunk, and I'm like, come on, dude, like, there's other ways to go around. A taxi costs like $5. It's pretty cheap around here. Call a friend. Or most of the time, when you're drunk, you really don't have anywhere to be. There's nothing that is that important to go to at night at 3 a.m. Most of the time, it's for a bed or food, and you can probably crash at somebody's place anyways. So overall, it's definitely just a very selfish, ignorant decision, because you're not just only affecting your life, you could be possibly affecting a lot of innocent lives out there. There's a lot of horror stories of a person driving drunk and hitting a van full of, like, a family and killing the family. That's usually what you hear on a lot of those videos that you watch in school and stuff, not to learn and control yourself. And the other tip I have too, if you're one of the people drinking, count how many drinks you have in that night. To kind of have a sense of how drunk you are, knowing what decisions you're going to make, because obviously just getting behind the wheel is not the only stupid decision that you could do. So definitely count how many drinks, know kind of what your limit is and everything like that, and make sure to set up rides. If you have to be somewhere at the end of the night, know that and set up a ride, set up something for you. Like, maybe if you have a group of friends, have one person be the DD in a certain night, you know, switch off, take turns, and everything like that. So
Dude, this knife is so much
there
fun.
is there's a way to have fun
Let's
without
go,
drinking,
team.
okay?
Oh my god.
But overall, hopefully this is a good lesson for you guys. I know a lot of you guys probably didn't realize that I had been arrested. For me, I don't feel like I was the guy that did that. So yeah, stay hairy, man,